following program is brought to you in living color on NBC.
Exclusively on ESPN Plus, UFC 313, Saturday. Reigning light heavyweight champion Alex Pereira defends his title against number one contender Magomed Ankalaev, and an explosive lightweight bout between Justin Gaethje and Rafael Fiziev. UFC 313, Saturday at 10 p.m. Eastern. Buy it on ESPNplus.com/PPB.
Spanning the globe to bring you the latest in classic rock news and comment. It's the Classic Guitar Rock Daily Update with your host, Jeremy Lunnan.
Hey, we're live, aren't we? It's time to go. Welcome to the Daily Update, which has kind of become semi-daily lately. Hey, you know, when you're a busy radio executive, it's tough to keep all the balls in the air to juggle and you know, I mean, it's tough. It's tough. But we're here today, and my first update actually is about Classic Guitar Rock Radio. Have you had a chance to check it out? 24/7, you can hear the great guitar-driven rock of the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And what can I say? It's awesome. Still under construction, so we're still tweaking the playlist. I'm still adding new music. Adding new features. You'll notice that some of the, like the sweepers, the stuff mentions the podcast, because I had a lot of that stuff produced. Those will slowly but surely be replaced with accurate, imaging that sounds like a radio station instead of a podcast. So be patient, but at the same time, keep listening. And I've been pleasantly surprised. People have been tuning in. So if you're one of those folks, thank you so much. If you haven't, please check it out. On X, there are all kinds of links I've posted several times that you can go in and access it. The next item on the agenda is we'll actually have, you can just go to classicguitarrock.com. There'll be a landing page that you can actually just hit the player right from there. So that'll kind of be the central jumping off point to listen to either the radio station or the podcast. It's a multimedia empire. I mean, we're just taking over the world, one great tune at a time, and you can be part of the excitement. I'm super excited about it, and it's super fun, and I'm wasting tons of time. Other than that, everything is wonderful. So hopefully you'll check out the radio station. And we've got some things planned that will be exciting. So just keep your eyes and ears peeled for that. And I'll for sure let you know. The theme for today's update, by the way, is touring. It's concert season. It's official. Concert season is underway. And many great bands are out and about. And this first one I want to talk about, it snuck right by me. And actually a friend of mine shot me an instant message over the weekend and said, "Hey, have you heard the new Black Crowes album?" And I was like, Obi-Wan Kenobi. I said, "The Black Crowes. Now that's a name I've not heard since." Oh, I guess that was Darth Vader who said that. Obi-Wan Kenobi. That's a name I've not heard since. Well, that's kind of what it was like, right? Because I'm like, Black Crowes, their first album was awesome. Their first two albums were really good. And they continued to do some good music, but they just got weird. They got weird. And sometimes when bands get weird and it becomes more about the image and they grow tiresome. And so I was kind of at that point with Black Crowes. But you know what? I checked out the new album. The new album is called Happiness Bastards. And it's a really good album. I was pleasantly surprised, and I liked it. Very bluesy. You on the one hand, you hear something that kind of reminds you of the Stones, maybe a little Aerosmithian, maybe at times even some AC/DC in there, but mostly I hear the bluesy Stones-ish Aerosmith. I like it. I'm digging it. And I want to listen to it some more. Well, what am I heading toward here? I'm heading toward here, that they finally kicked off their tour, the Happiness Bastards tour. Opening night was last night at the Grand Ole Opry, of all places. And they covered a lot. I mean, they were doing stuff from their first album. They, of course, did She Talks to Angels. I mean, they ran through their whole gamut. The Southern Harmony and Musical Companion, they did stuff from that album. And that's when they were really getting weird. I mean, to be honest, kind of getting weird by that point. But you know what? The new album's really good. And I think, based on what my friends said, they were on the Stern show and they've grown up a lot. I think they've grown up because they were kind of punks. You know, I don't know. I was never really big fans of them. I like their music, but they just always rubbed me the wrong way. But, you know, I think we all grow up and we get a little more mature and not so annoying. And I think maybe that's what has happened with Black Crow. So I'm excited about that. I like the new album, and it'll be interesting to see what plays out. Foreigner. Remember, Foreigner was on their farewell tour. And now, as I've predicted, they've added new dates, 10 new dates for September and October, featuring support from either Loverboy or Lita Ford. I've never seen Lita Ford live, but I've seen Loverboy live like 5 times, and they still sound really good. They look like crap, sound really good. What are you going to do? I mean, you got to go see them if they sound great, but they don't look great. They don't look like they did in 1984. Let's just put it that. But do any of us really? So yeah, you can check out Foreigner adding new dates. Gosh, remember we've talked about this. Foreigner, the current lineup of Foreigner features no original members, though Mick Jones, he didn't, when I saw him last September, he didn't make an appearance, but he'll still come out and play occasionally. And he made a statement. He said, many years ago, I wrote a song called Feels Like the First Time, and today we are launching the next leg of our last worldwide tour. We will be presenting a show that I know will have the same enthusiasm as our very first appearances. The tour started last summer in America, and we hope to get to every place that we have played over the last several years. While I'm sure our fans will have mixed feelings about the end of the road for the band, I know our shows are going to delight audiences everywhere. And here's the thing, guys. It's the age-old struggle, the age-old argument. At what, if you don't have any original members, okay, should you really call yourself Foreigner? Well, Mick has still been involved, so it's kind of had an air of legitimacy. Kelly Hansen's been in Foreigner for over 20 years. Jeff Pilson's been in there for like 15 years, right? They're not original, but they are excellent musicians. True, Kelly did not sing the original songs. That was Lou Gramm, who's a phenomenal singer. But Kelly's a great frontman, a better frontman than Lou Gramm ever was. I mean, as far as stage presence, charisma, that sort of thing. And he's a great singer. So I loved the Foreigner show I saw in September. And that might be sacrilege because, Mick wasn't there. Lou Gramm wasn't there. I get that. But it was a great show. I'd go see him again. I'd pay to see him again. It was great. And if you're a purist, you're to the point now that you really can't go see anyone anymore because there aren't any bands with all original members, or very few. I'm not thinking of any. There might be some, but I can't think of any. Heart. Speaking of concerts, Heart has announced new dates for their 2024 Royal Flush Tour. The band unveiled shows that run from April through September, many of them with Cheap Trick. Cheap Trick's still one of the great live bands to see. They're still awesome. If you've never seen Cheap Trick, I've seen them live more than any other band. They're still awesome. You should go see them. And they're opening for Heart. What a great show. Heart, You know, if all you know of Heart is the Heart album that came out in 1985, which to be honest is a great album. It's a pop album, I get it. Tremendously successful album, and Bad Animals, the one after that, and Brigade. They had 3 albums in a row in the mid to late 80s that were platinum albums, sold more than any of their earlier albums. But if you go back in the earlier albums, they were such a great band, just phenomenal music. You got to go see Heart. I saw them about 20 years ago, and they were really good. I mean, it was a good show. Cheap Trick will be supporting many of the new shows. Jason Bonham's Led Zeppelin Evening and BTO featuring Randy Bachman are also playing some of the concerts. Holy cow. And then Squeeze will be opening for them. What a melange. Is that a word? Or I don't know. It sounded good, but what a collection of opening bands. No matter who's opening for them, it's going to be a great show when you go see them. Nancy Wilson says, quote, "I'm incredibly proud of the show that we've crafted, and I'm looking forward to reconnecting with even more fans. We can't wait to share our music with everyone and celebrate the big electric energy of a completely live, on-the-spot rock show." I like it. And the hits continue. Jeff Lynne's ELO has announced additional dates to their previously unveiled The Over and Out Tour. So Foreigner, their farewell tour, Jeff Lynne's Over and Out Tour. The new concerts are all second nights in cities that were announced 2 weeks ago. The group's final tour will play more than 24 North American cities in the fall. The new dates are added, quote, "due to spectacular demand," end quote. So you got to see him. Jeff Lynne, extremely talented. I'm a big fan of the ELO. The Over and Out Tour will be the last one by Jeff Lynne's ELO. They will play 31 shows in North America over 2 months so far. I bet there will be more. In addition to the above mentioned cities, which I didn't mention, the tour will include dates in Seattle, Cleveland, Nashville, and Denver. And there's more. There's more tour news. We're not done. Terrible Ted Nugent. Remember last year he had his Adios Mofo 23 farewell tour, but he's doing more shows. The difference is this is not a tour. This is what he calls speakeasy rockouts during April and May throughout Oklahoma and Texas. Ted clarified that he is not retiring from playing live. He just doesn't like doing tours. Okay. Hang on here. Will Hines checking in. Will, how are you, sir? Thank you for joining today. Of course, Will is banned from speaking on the podcast for various reasons. He knows why he's not allowed to talk. And Marlon is also checking in. Are Ann and Nancy Wilson together again? Yes. This tour, I meant to say that. This tour is their first time touring together in several years. There was like some family drama. I don't know if maybe we can dig into this at some point. There was like some weird family drama that they had they weren't playing together. And I don't know all the details, but it was weird. But now they're back together. And so that's great. So back to Ted. Asked if he was done retiring or if he was retiring from playing live. And he said he's not. It's the touring he's retired. So he's not doing long tours anymore. Here's what he says, quote, "The fire, the music, it will always go on. I play my guitar every day and I get to collaborate with the best musicians in the world. So it's always a challenge. It's always intriguing. It's always stimulating. I'm an old man. I'm 75 this year, but the stimuli factor. I hope that somebody else in this world is as stimulated by the music as I am because it's still very much alive and well," end quote. So no, he's not done playing live. He's just done doing the long tours. He'll do these speakeasy rockouts periodically. So these dates are all in Oklahoma and Texas. So if you're in Oklahoma and Texas, Will, he's down in your neck of the woods. So you could easily go see the 10 Fingers of Doom at a concert venue near you. Over the weekend, vocalist, bassist Glenn Hughes. Do we love the Glenn Hughes? We have an episode of the podcast dedicated to Glenn Hughes. Have you heard that? Maybe the hardest working man in show business. He is at any given time, he's like the Doug Aldrich of bass players. I mean, at any given time, Glenn and Doug are in 5 different bands. Okay. Same with Joel Hoekstra and Jeff Pilson and George Lynch. There's like this orbit of like 6 players that are all in like 6 bands at the same time, probably playing together. I know Glenn Hughes and Doug Aldrich were playing together for a while in the Dead Daisies. Well, now Glenn Hughes he's playing with someone right now. I don't even know who's playing with right now. Oh, Black Country Communion's back together. I think they've been doing some stuff. Well, Glenn Hughes, of course, originally in the band Trapeze with Dave Holland. Dave Holland, who, of course, went on to fame and fortune and misfortune with Judas Priest later, but he was in a band with Glenn Hughes, Trapeze. That's where he was discovered by one Ritchie Blackmore, and then he became a member of Deep Purple for a while and sang on one of my favorite Deep Purple tunes, Burn. Where am I going with this? Oh, Glenn Hughes took to social media to write that he has finished writing new music. He says, I am preparing to go in the studio next year, sometime in the summer. I'm preparing the songs in the next couple of months. I have a few ideas. And when I go in the studio, I'll be ready to go. 72 years old, and he still sings great, plays bass great, looks great. It's great to be Glenn Hughes. Glenn had a raging drug addiction. I mean, like debilitating, like almost died. He spent a short time in Black Sabbath and he couldn't hold it together. The Hughes Thrall album with Pat Thrall, they were both just raging drug addicts. Sad. The good news is he made it through. He's been clean and sober for like 20 years now. So that's awesome. And he's great, looks great, sounds great. I'm a big fan of the Glenn Hughes and we'll be looking forward to new music from him. I mentioned Black Country Communion, also a great band featuring Joe Bonamassa and Glenn Hughes. What's not to like? That's super exciting. All right, guys, I plugged it at the beginning. I'm going to plug it again. If you haven't checked out Classic Guitar Rock Radio, this is a ground floor opportunity for you, right? There's links on X. I'll have links on Facebook. I'll have links everywhere that I can put a link. There'll be a link. At some point, there'll be a player. You can just go straight to the classicguitarrock.com. That's under construction. It's not there now. So for now, you got to find one of the links. Go to it. Listen early and often. And I'd love to hear your feedback. I think we're getting there on the music mix. I'm adding more music today. And it's cool. It's cool. I think it's a pretty eclectic mix. We go a lot deeper. You'll hear the classic rock stuff you expect to hear, right? I mean, you got to hear certain songs, but then we go a lot deeper on a lot of bands too that you won't normally hear. And I think it's exciting. So I want you to check it out and let me know what you think. And then email me, classicguitarrock@mail.com. Let me know what you think. Thanks so much. Have a great day. We'll do it all again tomorrow. Live long and prosper. Bye-bye.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
Thanks for listening. You can email Jeremy at classicguitarrock@mail.com.
Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
Tune in each weekday for the Classic Guitar Rock Daily Update.